Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. The Washington Commanders have not been more than 2 games over 500 since the Alex Smith era. They also have not won more than 7 games in a season since 2016, and well, they currently sit at 7-5 after a 1-4 start, so they have about 5 more tries, 5 more games to get to there. The Washington Commanders they're just getting the job done. Simply put, they're getting the job done. They've won 6 of their last 7 football games. That 1-4 start, they started the season 1-0. They lost 4 straight. Resiliency, culture, everything. Every positive verb, every positive adjective. Their defense is legit, and even the only time I found that the Commanders have gotten the respect they deserve, especially on the defensive side, was when they played Philadelphia. And Philadelphia, we all know at the time, was undefeated, and Washington pretty much shut down Jalen Hurts, especially in the fourth quarter, and they got the win. And it was like, all right, yeah, Washington's defense is very legit. They're only giving up about 20 points. What it's going to boil down to is they're only scoring about 20 points. It is not always pretty. Taylor Heinicke is a very solid quarterback. I think personally he's got to kind of continue to learn his limitations, what he can and what he can't do. Keep on improving, just limit turnovers. We saw a pretty bad turnover, or a bad interception, I should say, yesterday when they took down the Atlanta Falcons. But when we look at this win streak right now, they're getting defensive stops. They are winning games. They won that Indianapolis game with their offense, but it's mainly come down to defense. They took down my Green Bay Packers. It was a horribly brutal game being a Green Bay Packer fan. They shut down Chicago on, what was it, like the 2-yard line, the 1-yard line. Philadelphia shut them down on the defensive end. They completely limited Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles offense yesterday. The Atlanta Falcons had the ball. It was, first and goal at the 2-yard line? A couple of plays later, Kendall Fuller gets that interception, and the rest is history, and they're riding a nice little win streak right now. The craziest part is Chase Young's not even bad. He's been decimated by the flu. But before we get any further into this video, if you guys enjoy it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to start to post a lot more Washington Commander videos because they are one fun team, and it just doesn't always have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be pretty. They're winning, and that is the most important part. But like I said, let's try and get this video to 100 likes. If you want more Commander content, go ahead, show some love down below. But I really want to hear your guys' opinion on this team. The way I see it right now is they're 7-5. You have really big games, and they're not going to be easy, winnable games. Right? You're not playing Houston. You're playing, first off, New York next week. You have a bye. Then you play New York once again. You also on the schedule have San Francisco. You also have Dallas. So there's some difficult games, but we saw it with Philadelphia. We've seen it a few times this season. Washington is fully capable of staying in these games and actually winning these football games. The future is bright regardless of what happens to them this season. The future is very bright in Washington. The thing is, their offensive line is finally snapping. We heard a lot of praise about it heading into this season, and the first couple of weeks started a little bit shaky. Brian Robinson Jr., Antonio Gibson, these are some runners, all right? And their offensive line has done more than their job in the last couple of weeks. Yesterday, specifically, we saw a season high, I should say, for Washington, 176 rushing yards. 176. So it's great to see the offensive line just become dominant, essentially. It's great to see that run game really snap because they're a run-oriented offense. Ron Rivera has done a great job implementing a system. Taylor Heinicke, to me, he's the X factor for what they're capable of this season. Now, so far this year, he's got a completion percent of just under 61%, only averaging about 195 yards per game, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I don't really care too much about the total touchdowns or total yards per game or anything like that. What I do care about are turnovers, because that defense is going to keep you in every single football game. They're going to keep you every single football game. And we heard it from Taylor himself yesterday after their win against Atlanta. Staying in these games not only, but more importantly, winning these close games, winning all of these close games, 6 of their last 7 games, they're building up the confidence. right? They're just continuing to build their confidence. And now, with the way the NFC looks, you gotta think in mind, right? All right, Philadelphia's in the same division. They're very good. Dallas is in the same division. They're very good. New York is having a solid season. They're a good football team. I'm not completely sold on the New York Giants in any way, shape, or form. They hold their own fate in their own hands. They hold their destiny in the grip of their palm. They can beat New York twice. They can beat Dallas. They're not winnable games, like I said, but to the way I see it, for Washington, is you win and you're in. And as we know from a couple of years ago when they played TB12 in the playoffs, if you can just get to the playoffs, anything can happen. All right, literally anything can happen. This is a more well-rounded Washington team, though, in my opinion. Taylor is the leader. They're building that confidence, got to limit the turnovers. He does a great job of scrambling. He's not an easy quarterback to take down, but he's got to make the throws when he needs to make the throws, and he's got to make the plays when he has to make the plays. And for the most part, that is exactly what he has done, and that's exactly why he is QB1 with Carson Wentz sitting on the bench. I know he's a little banged up still, but Taylor Heinicke is my quarterback one until I'm proven otherwise. All right? And the Chase Young edition from the injury, or the flu list, I should say, that's a very big deal as well. They have some weapons on the offensive end. You do have Scary Terry. You do have Curtis Samuel. These are guys who, you can really open up your playbook, because these are two guys who can run the football. These are guys you can get going in screens, multitude of different ways. You can get extremely versatile and extremely creative with Curtis Samuel and Scary Terry as your top two wide receivers. But I want to talk about Jahan Dotson, rookie out of Penn State, because he's working his way back from injury. He's been back for the last couple of weeks. We've seen in the last 3 weeks only 2 catches combined. And I still think he's working his way back to full health, and he's still trying to get those reps. And Washington in general, especially the last couple of weeks, they haven't necessarily needed to throw the football. They've gotten off to leads, or their defense has done a great job. Whatever the case may be, they just haven't had to win these football games through the air since Dotson got back. But the first game of his young rookie career, 2 touchdowns. His first 2 weeks, my point is, his first 2 weeks were awesome. And the future looked extremely bright. And I do think he's just another asset to add onto this already explosive playmaking offense, capable offense, I should say, with the wide receiver unit. You also have Logan Thomas returning for injury, so that is also huge. So getting healthy at the right time, you're building this momentum. There's only, 5 games left on the season. If you can win, honestly, I think if you can win 3 out of the next 5, you're in the playoffs. But I do think Washington's even capable of more. And it's crazy because technically right now, at the time of this recording, they're the 4th, they're last in the division. It's kind of crazy, right? It's just cool to see. I love the NFC East. I love when the NFC East is good and competitive, and Washington's going to have some big-time games here coming up starting this upcoming weekend. So that's it for today. That's it for me. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. If you guys want more Washington videos, show some love down below. But I want to hear your take. I want to hear your opinion on Washington for the rest of this season.